Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Glasgow Rangers Nation with me, your host Owen. Guys, this is your daily news update, your daily news video, the channel that brings you your team every single day. And the way you get your team every single day is easy. All you've got to do is hit that sub, ring the notification bell, set it to all, so those reminders spring up on your mobile device or on your computer. And if you give the video a like, guys, that really does help out. Thank you for that. So we've got a few bits and pieces to bring to you this morning, obviously around the Glasgow Rangers and about what is going on around the club. We're talking a bit about Antonio Colak. We're talking a bit about what Brian Laudrup has had to say about Ryan Kent and Alfredo Morelos. We're talking about the extra money that's coming into the club thanks to Howie. And we're going to talk, obviously, about the game on Sunday, a massive game, obviously, coming up with that Cup semi-final against our rivals from across the city. Let's start, obviously, by talking, though, about our Croatian centre-forward, Antonio Colak. Now, obviously, Antonio Colak, who has not only been out of favour, but has been injured in recent weeks, has missed, obviously, a number of games. Colak had an outstanding performance against Hibs, and then followed with a not so great performance in following games against the likes of Motherwell, for example, and obviously then got injured. And also the fact that Michael Beale continues to obviously select Alfredo Morelos as the striker to lead the line, even though it looks very much likely that Alfie will be off at the end of the season. Although his cryptic social media tweet today was definitely interesting. Sometimes it's good, basically saying it's good not to talk, or better not to talk, or something like that anyway. But he tweeted out in Spanish. Anyway, striker Antonio Colak announced today that he has agreed terms with new representatives, a new set of agents. He revealed this on his Instagram account. He has switched to CAA Stellar Agency. Now, why is this significant? Why is this news that Antonio Colak has gained a new set of representatives? Well, this is the sort of thing that players usually do when they're about to either A, renegotiate a contract, or B, ask for a move somewhere else. This definitely seems to be the intention. If you look at Antonio Colak, Colak, yes, has scored some goals this season. Yes, has been effective at times this season, perhaps more so against those teams lower down the league. But like I said, this move today obviously is an interesting one from that aspect. If you look at Colak's record with Rangers, obviously he came here in the summer from PAOK Salonika after a successful loan spell with Malmo. He scored 13 goals in 24 games, which in itself is not a bad return. But like I said, players tend to change representatives when they're about to do something major in their career, like, for example, move on or ask for a new contract. Obviously, the fact that he came here last summer, obviously agreed a contract, then it seems unlikely that is the intention. It seems more likely that he has appointed these new representatives to try and find him a move away from the club. Colak is someone who I think doesn't really fit Beale's system, doesn't really fit what Beale wants in a striker to lead the line. And certainly if you look at the types of players that the Rangers have been linked with in recent weeks, Joel Pirot, Josh Madger, these players are very much unlike Colak in the way that he plays. Therefore, this move does seem like it is indication that Colak will be off in the summer. Now, obviously, there is a major rebuild going to have to undergo, and we just are going to extra cash, obviously, to continue that rebuild. And obviously, if they were to sell Colak, that would raise some extra funds for the club, funds that then could be reinvested into the team and for purchasing further players, on top of obviously the money that's already there, that Michael Beale said is a substantial budget. So, interesting news there. Could Colak be off? I'd love to know what your thoughts are. Get them in the comments below. Rangers legend Brian Laudrup has been about Morelos and Ryan. Obviously, it is highly likely that Alfredo and Ryan will be off in the summer. This seems to be the intention. Ryan Kent has apparently, his representatives have apparently held talks with Burnley. Morelos has been the subject of interest from teams like Sevilla, Galatasaray, Aston Villa, Everton, for example, apparently, allegedly. Now, Brian Laudrup has been talking today about the fact that he feels that these two players really need to try and end their Rangers careers on a high. It does seem highly likely that both Kent and Morelos will be in line for a starting position on Sunday against Celtic in the Scottish Cup semi-final. Given obviously the ineffectual nature of Rangers' performance on Sunday at Pittodrie, the likelihood is that Kent will be reintroduced, despite the fact obviously Kent was particularly poor in that game at Parkhead and went pretty much missing in action. So if Kent and Morelos are reintroduced, this is obviously going to be a chance to reintroduce in terms of Kent, picked again in terms of Morelos. Now, Brian Laudrup feels that they will regret for the rest of their careers if they do not end their time at Rangers on a high. Obviously, they've had some high points in their careers at Rangers, the Europa League run, the 55 title win, the Scottish Cup win last season. And Brian Laudrup feels that these two players owe Rangers something. Rangers have helped them. They've developed their careers at Rangers, and they're certainly in a position to move on to, say, Premier League or to wherever because of what they have done at Glasgow Rangers and what Glasgow Rangers have given them. So, like I said, Laudrup feels that they would regret if they do not use this as an opportunity to really go out on a high, to really put in the effort to show Rangers fans that they, a debt of gratitude in a way to say thank you to the Rangers fans for everything they have done, the way they have supported both Alfie and Ryan over their time here in Glasgow. Certainly that's something I would welcome. I hope that Alfie and Ryan can go back and perhaps turn back the clock a little bit to that 55 season and put in performances that are reflective of the types of players they are. We know that Ryan Kent can be on his day a very, very, very good player. Same for Alfredo Morelos. But at the times this season, those performances have been few and far between, and we need to see the best of them in this semi-final if we are to obviously overcome Celtic in what will be an exceptionally tough game on Sunday, one has to feel. News also today that Rangers will gain an extra £7 million thanks to obviously Owen Howie. How can a training ground give you £7 million? Well, apparently there are obviously a number of players who have been shipped on and sold, obviously who have come through the academy at Rangers, and due to transfer add-ons, apparently these are due to pay out an extra £7 million at the end of the season. So Rangers will receive another £7 million. Now, obviously, it is to be hoped that this £7 million can be reinvested into the playing squad. This is certainly something that is desperately needed by Rangers, as they seek to rebuild this team, ready to really challenge Celtic next season. There are a number, I think, of positions that need to be addressed in this team, and as much money as possible as it can be raised and used to do that will stand Rangers in good stead going into next season. Obviously, we need a new goalkeeper. It looks like Jack Butland could be that keeper, but I still think we could do with an extra keeper if McLaughlin and McGregor leaving only Robbie McCrory on the playing staff until Jack Butland's deal is agreed. I think we could do with a central defender. I think we could do with a central defensive midfield player, a winger, a couple of strikers. Even you could argue a left back if Borna moves on. Borna, John Lundstrom, and Kemar Roof only have a year left on their contracts, and obviously decisions need to be taken now as to regards their future. You cannot leave it till next season so that we're sitting in a position, like I've said on multiple videos, 12 months from now, having the same discussion about Lundstrom, Borna, and Roof that we're having about Ryan Jack, Ryan Kent, Alfredo Morelos, Scotty Arfield, for example. So a number of obviously decisions to make there for the club, and like I said, it needs to be done now rather than later. Great podcast last night, if you haven't already caught it, with Journey Back's Stuart Hay. Guys, if you haven't caught the podcast, please go and check it out. Fantastic with Victoria and I chatting to Stuart all about his play, The Journey Back, and how this club was reborn. Please go and check that out if you haven't already done so. Really good chatting with Stuart. Loads of good stuff about the play, about Stuart's ambitions for the play, and also about his views on the team as well, and obviously on his views on the team for next season. Obviously, all the focus now turns to Sunday. This is a huge week for Rangers. This is the week kind of that matters, isn't it? We're building towards the one game that kind of matters this season. Obviously, after Sunday, we have 5 league fixtures remaining, 3 home, 2 away, which in reality, I suppose, matter from the aspect that it's Rangers. Any game where Rangers play matters. There's players in that team that want to, obviously, consolidate their place for, excuse me, for next season. And those games obviously will be a test, and particularly obviously that Old Firm game. You can never have a meaningless Old Firm game, but obviously the biggest game, the most important game of the season is Sunday. That semi-final is a must-win for Rangers. You know, obviously the intention is there to retain the Scottish Cup. The other obviously is to stop Celtic winning the treble, and Rangers will need to be at their very best if they're going to do that on Sunday. So that is the big focus, obviously, now going forward, you know, for this channel and also for the club as well. Well, guys, that's your daily news update from Glasgow Rangers Nation. Please remember to hit that sub, ring that notification bell, and give this video a like, guys. It really does help. I'm about to speak to you again soon here on the channel. Thank you for watching. Keep your eyes open and your ears to the ground.